Hello. Welcome back to We Bombastic Few, Season 5, Episode 11, total episode 60 something or other, maybe. Not really entirely sure. I forget every week. Doesn't matter. I'm Daniel, the host of the day. Sponsored by, sponsor. Who else we got?
Brent.
I'm the hostier host, Lindsay.
I'm the hostess cupcake because I'm such a snack. Brent.
Intriguing. I prefer Little Debbie, but nice try.
Ooh.
I don't even know if they're considered competitors or not, but
We don't want to start a hostess versus Little Debbie debate.
Yeah,
here
they've
today.
got some serious beef there.
Little Debbie can throw hands, so don't even start with that.
I'm with you, Lindsay. Like, Little Debbie is like far superior, right, in almost every category. But we don't got to get into it unless Brent's trying to, But,
well, so if we're being honest here, Twinkie's part of hostess, right?
Okay, Twinkie's well overrated.
Yeah, but like Twinkies owned the internet in like 2000 and
in the past they owned something.
like when
Since
they
when
like
does that matter?
discontinued Twinkies for like a couple years and then brought it back, but everyone was freaking out about getting Twinkies.
It was like a hot second,
and yeah, the you guys know about Tulip Mania?
No.
Oh man, I consider this was gonna be a Qualgorithm at one point, but basically, it was like during the 16th or 17th century, for whatever reason, like in the tulips became a very, very popular thing to trade, and it was considered one of the first speculative bubbles in like the market. And there were recorded instances of like a single tulip bulb being sold for like 11 acres of land, and there was an instance of it being the equivalent value of it listed off. It was like literally a ton, like a metric ton of like meat and 1,000 pounds of cheese and like all these other things that equaled 2,500 solores, which roughly 60 to 100 was the equivalent to a yearly salary of an artisan at the time of solores. Is crazy. Tulips going for crazy amounts of money, but then people are like, nah, these tulips are dumb, and then the market crashed and you couldn't give away your tulips.
Wow.
Sounds
Imagine
like
and it's like Twinkies. There was the Twinkie bubble because that's the connection, because Twinkies like there was a time where I remember you could look online and it's like, yep, this box of Twinkies, $600,000 bajillion dollars.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that listed price on eBay. I thought that might happen with Choco Tacos because they're getting discontinued. And I had never had one.
That is.
And now Daniel has.
I'm sorry.
I don't. Choco Tacos.
Yeah, I've spent my entire life savings on Choco Tacos. I have them all in the freezer. And no,
I don't seem to recall the scene in Ghostbusters when they trapped all the ghosts in a metaphorical Choco Taco.
It was in Ghostbusters 2.5.
Or the scene
didn't see that one?
in Zombieland where everyone was raving about the Choco Tacos. Or
Woody Harrelson
specifically
just had
Woody
to get his
Harrelson.
hands on a Choco Taco.
Yeah.
I don't particularly care for Twinkies, but if I see Zombieland, it's like, gosh darn it, I gotta get myself a Twinkie.
And not a snowball.
Yeah. Destroy all the snowballs you see.
Yeah. But no, like, okay. Choco Tacos. I thought it was going to happen because it discontinued. Everyone was freaking out that they were getting discontinued. Like, oh, I used to love this as a kid. And I never had one. And I was just somewhere. Somewhere that had like one of those ice cream freezers where you just, pick out your ice cream and then take it out to the counter to pay for it, like at a gas station. And I saw Choco Taco. I was like, I could like buy a bunch of these and like see if the price goes up. But like, I just want to try one because I've never had it and it's getting discontinued. So I did, and I didn't know what to expect, and it was basically a drumstick. It was a drumstick in the shape of a taco.
Wait, okay, so I really, like, is it ice cream?
Yeah, it's ice cream.
Okay.
So it's like a drumstick ice cream cone, but it's in the shape of a taco, and the ice cream was like maybe a little better. They're made by Klondike. Same people do Klondike bars. But like the taco shell, which is like the waffle material, was like soggy and overall worse anyways. And I was just like, I understand why it's discontinued, because drumsticks are just like better.
Yeah.
By a lot.
Yeah, well, it didn't help that when they first released it, they used an actual tortilla, like a corn tortilla, and so that just everyone knows that doesn't hold ice cream well whatsoever, and
But
it becomes
you know,
really
that's
brittle when you freeze it.
it's what they got popular off of. It's kind of like Coke, you know, their OG recipe. You know, America went crazy for it, and then Pepsi started catching up, and they freaked out, made new Coke, threw out the old recipe. Everyone hated that, and then rioted. And then Coke backtracked with they like slightly altered the original recipe, but people like just placeboed themselves into thinking, yeah, this is the taste I remember. And then people
They started
who
adding
like
cocaine again.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I hear that like certain things get discontinued, I almost don't believe it, just because I've heard of like, I can't think of a specific one, but I've heard like a fake discontinued articles and stuff. It's just like, I don't believe it until like I no longer see them at this point. But if you could get some monetary value out of stockpiling while you can, maybe it's worth believing some of the news of things being discontinued.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like other notable food items that got discontinued. Like there was chicken fries at Burger King. I remember those weren't around for a little bit, and that was sad.
I forget that Burger King exists.
For real.
Yeah, I don't think I've been to Burger King in years. And the only time I ever go is I get chicken fries, because they did bring them back eventually. So
the only time I think about Burger King is when like I'm stuck in an airport and it just so happens to be the only thing open.
I remember.
Sorry.
No,
you're good.
I was gonna say, I remember the last time I went to Burger King was when I was working at Toys R Us. And before then, the last time I had been to Burger King was for like a birthday lunch when I was like in 3rd grade. And I was like, I'm going to go by Burger King. I haven't been there in forever. And then I went and I was like, man, I remember why I haven't been to Burger King in forever.
Didn't we share some Burger King on the at the airport waiting to leave from Vegas when we traveled, whenever that was?
At the airport? At the airport?
Because you told me that you didn't want anything, and I figured you didn't want to spend money. So, well, Christian and I went to Burger King. I was like, when we got back, I was like, here, you can have some of my food. And I thought you ate some, but you could have.
Okay, well, even if I did, I wouldn't technically count it then, because I didn't, of my own volition, go to Burger King.
Yes, I will accept that.
But
however,
possibly, I do not. No.
Part of your story was that you reminded yourself from the other stories that you don't like Burger King because of this. So I was just bringing it up another time.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter.
I feel like when I go to airports, I always go for like, I don't even know what the restaurant is. It's like a fast food Chinese place type of deal. TGI Fridays? I don't know. But sure. TGI Fridays. Yeah, the airport TGI Fridays. That's what I usually swing for.
So on my most recent like flying back from vacation, we had like a 2.5 hour layover or something, and that was like so like 2.5 hours before the next flight, and I went to TGI Fridays, and I'd never been in a sit down restaurant at the airport, and it was so nice to just have a sit down, not like sitting at the terminal, just be sitting in a restaurant at the airport.
Yeah.
Highly like the food, very very overpriced compared to normal TGI Fridays, but honestly worth it. Just to not be sitting at a terminal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely like, even sitting in a terminal with food is like infinitely better than just sitting in the terminal. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I really don't mind it, but I also think that I can zone out pretty easily, so on command, so
yeah,
that might
like
just be why.
I have plenty of modes of entertainment. Like I can get myself through a layover, but like so when I went to California a few months ago, I had planned it so I'd have like an hour layover on my connections both ways, so that if there were any delays, I would probably still make it, and just general trying to plan ahead a little bit. But I booked my flight several months ahead, and the schedule changed such that on the way there, my flight changed from like an afternoon flight to a morning flight. And so I ended up having like a 4-hour layover in Salt Lake City. I was just sitting there in the terminal. Like, I had already, exhausted eating, and I like walked up and down the entire airport a few times. And I'm just sitting there like waiting for something to happen.
What's the longest layover you guys have ever had?
I've only experienced one layover, and I was pretty much running.
Only one?
I was running to my other gate, so I cannot really share your pain.
I'm about to say this is a Qualgorithm episode. What do you guys think? We can't, because like I literally have 3 things I've thought of already.
Oh, sure.
All right, it's a Qualgorithm episode now, baby.
Let's go. All right.
So you've only ever had one layover. How many like flights have you been on? Because I talked to some people that's like, yeah, I've been on an airplane 3 times.
No.
Like, is it a countable number that you can be like, if you sat down and really think about it, it's like, oh, like 8.
Yeah, I believe it's double digits at least. But I would be accountable. I'm sure I could probably figure it out. But yeah, and that one was voluntary also, the layover, because I was traveling for work, and when they scheduled it, my manager told us that we were going to travel for work because he lives in a different state than I do, and so does a lot of the rest of the team, and we all wanted to fly out to one specific area and just figure out things, whatever. Well, I had a direct flight there, and then I was having the one I scheduled was a direct flight back. Well, we had tickets to a sport event the day I was supposed to get back, and the scheduled flight that he told us, the flight that I was approved to take back, was I would have gotten like an hour or an hour and a half of time in between the beginning of the ideal time that I show up to that sporting event and from the time that the plane is supposed to arrive. So I just like, I'll take this, ask my manager, it'd be cheaper, but it's a connected flight, and it just shaved off like an hour or 2, but I had to leave earlier.
I think the longest, well, I don't know, it depends what you consider. There was one time I was stuck in the Atlanta airport for a while because there was storms, and so the flight kept getting pushed back. So I was there for like 6 or 7 hours, but then that got pushed back so far that my next connecting flight had to be pushed off till the morning, so I had to stay the night. So I don't know. I guess you could consider it my 6 or 7 hours in the Atlanta airport, or you could consider like the next 12 some odd hours.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think the second you leave the airport, the timer stops. And so if
like
you slept in the airport, then it absolutely counts.
I feel like you're only saying that because you were so stubborn that you stayed within the airport for an excessive amount of time rather than going and checking out other areas for your upcoming story that you're about to share.
You don't even know if I'm going to share a story. Who knows? No, I think if you're like, it's the longest layover by definition of Brent's Dictionary Incorporated, which you can find in shelves soon. The definition of a layover is your longest layover is the longest continuous time spent in an airport. You didn't even have to like take a flight, or you didn't even have to be like coming from a flight for another flight. If you just stayed in the airport for 10 hours, then that is your longest layover.
Yeah,
I know I've looked up the definition of layover.
It's hard for me. Like this is the longest layover I've had since being old enough to remember how long I was in the airport and not just being a kid and it seeming like a billion years when it was probably just like 2 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. The longest so surprisingly enough, I do have a story. I just happened to think of it though. It just came to mind. I don't know. The longest layover I had was about 8.5 hours, and that was coming. That was like coming from Tokyo, or not from. I'm sorry, not from Tokyo. From Taiwan, going to the Hong Kong airport, and then the next flight was Hong Kong to LAX, and the 8.5 hours in an airport. And so I did not leave the airport, and the reason I did not is because I didn't speak Chinese, and I was not certain that if I left, I don't even know if I could have left the airport, like made it through customs, because I didn't have anyone I was seeing or a hotel booked or like a visa or anything. But this was pre-COVID. But and then also like getting back in, like I knew absolutely nothing, and so I did not want to leave, and so I sat on one bench for about 4 hours playing solitaire, and I was waiting next to the American Airlines desk to see if there was like an earlier flight. And so I sat 4 hours waiting for the desk to open, and so the desk finally opened. And so I got up from where I'd been sitting, and I went over. I was like, "Hey, is there another flight? Like an earlier flight?" And I was like, "Buddy, there's exactly one American Airlines flight that goes from Hong Kong to the United States, and you're on it. So go back down and sit for another 4 hours." And I was like, "Yes,
Patience.
yes, ma'am." So from there, I went to the gate, change of scenery, and sat there. And it started out as the gate changed like 3 times, and each time I got up and like moved around. But that was within the span of like an hour, and there were still 3 hours to go, and I just stopped moving at that point. And so the gate changed at least 4 or 5 more times.
Yeah.
And then like with half an hour left, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to what gate they tell me it is now.
I feel like, at least if I was in that situation, I'd be fighting the like subconscious desire to like get excited that me getting up and moving makes it seem like, or for the plane makes it seem like the plane's probably gonna show up soon. But you still, like you said, have multiple hours.
Yeah, when you've sat for 4 hours and you've only just reached the halfway mark, that it does something to your soul, something you'll never truly get back. It is, and it was really interesting to travel internationally. I had never done it before, but man, I do not like unknowns. I really like to know what's going on, and so just in general, that makes me somewhat against travel. But then international travel where you don't speak the language, oh my goodness, it's part of it was like the worst thing ever. It was just knowing that if there's a problem, there's literally nothing I can do in my power to solve it. Like if my phone died or something, which not that it's definitely helpful, but like there's only so much you can do with a translator app and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know who said this or something like that, but it was someone poking fun at all the people that they aspire to do all this traveling and stuff. It's like and he or she, whoever it was like, why you get so excited about all this travel? Like, what are you going to do? Go to Spain, stay in a hotel, go look at a church or some other architecture, and then go back to your hotel room? Like, there's not, like, it's nothing crazy. I was like, that's kind of fair. Like, I at least somewhat like resonate with that mindset. Just like, yes, traveling's cool and can be exciting, but at the same time, I kind of understand, like, it kind of just wears off that, oh, there's other things in the world. I get that. I've seen a lot of it, and like I'm down to go to others, but I'm not necessarily going to go out of my way to plan it, I feel like.
I think it's the cool. I will say, so like I agree with that part way, but
Yeah.
I think it's the coolest feeling ever to see something on TV now and be like, oh, I've been there. Like specifically, anytime something like some Las Vegas scene shows up, it's like I know exactly where this was filmed and I remember being there.
Yeah,
And there's like a couple other places I've been that I can have like Hawaii there, Oahu, like certain places they'll show, and it's like, yeah, I remember being like there. And so
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool thing, is just to like going from seeing a picture your entire life to being there, seeing it in person, and then going back to that picture and just having a very clear mental image of like, oh yes, that place.
That is pretty cool.
That.
Yeah.
Like specifically like city scenes, like even like a lot of times they'll say it's New York, but like just being at New York, or a lot of times New York City shots are also filmed in Chicago pretty often, or at least in the early 2000s they were. And I've had that moment a lot where it's like, oh, I've been to that area, that like this street, like I know where they've done that, or they shot this, and I'll agree, like that is a pretty cool thing to be able to do.
I don't know. I felt like when I've been international, like, so my layover where I was stuck overnight, I was going to Vienna, and I got late. My layover was in Paris, so we just ended up being in Paris for a night. Like, overall, it was a pretty like, oh dang, I don't really like this city very much in Paris. But then it was like,
all right, tell us why Paris is the worst city on earth.
I don't know. Just I don't exactly remember this. I guess it was like 5 years ago at this point, a little over 5 years ago. I remember it being like pretty. I want to say like my initial impression was like, this is just a dirty city. Like,
oh wow, dang! You hear that, French people? You're dirty.
I have heard
you out, Mikkel,
I've
specifically.
heard very similar things, that like Paris specifically is like overhyped more than any other place.
Yes. So we had a limited time. I was with a group, and so they're like, all right, well, some of us are going to go to see the Eiffel Tower, and some of us are going to go to see the Louvre. Now, I don't like museums, so I went to the Eiffel Tower, obviously.
I feel like you have to.
So I did that, and I'm glad I did, because everyone who went to the Louvre, you know, they like museum in general, but obviously the thing they really wanted to see was the Mona Lisa, and they all said it was super underwhelming and not worth it to like wait to see the Mona Lisa. I was like, yeah, okay, fair. The Eiffel Tower, it was like, oh, cool, I've seen this before. And then we're just hanging out, we're eating, and it starts to get dark, and then like the lights on the Eiffel Tower came on. That's like the moment I remember. I was like, oh, this is super cool and spectacular when the lights came on. So that was like a shining moment.
All right,
but, like,
pop
in general,
quiz. What
like,
was the? Okay.
Oh
sorry.
god.
Really quick pop quiz. What was the Eiffel Tower's original? Or okay, it was not the original intention, but what was it used for during the World War? I think it's one.
Radio tower, like broadcast.
Yep. And it was supposed to be taken down, but they said, no, don't take it down. It's useful for war efforts. And so they left it up. Continue.
Yeah. I know that because of Civilization and the technology tree.
I thought you were just going to leave it at that. I know that because Civilization, idiot. Moving on.
But yeah, like, Vienna was super cool. Like, I will agree with Brent. The worst part about being in Vienna was, like, the language barrier. Like, most people there speak German. And, like, the ones who do speak English, it was, like, a thick accent. It was, like, a struggle to understand. Like, wait, how much am I paying for this gelato? And then it's like, I keep having to ask them to repeat themselves. And then finally someone who speaks better English turns around and tells me he wants this much money. I'm like, thank you.
And it's not even like oh, you speak terrible English or any, like, and obviously it's like, I'm coming to your country, like, thank you for bothering to learn English. But like, sure. it becomes just a problem of, it's like, even if they do speak English, the language I don't speak, you're just not 100% sure you're on the same page. Because like that would happen in specifically, I was trying to get like a temporary SIM card, and like they were saying what I was wanted to hear, but I just wasn't 100% certain what they were saying meant what I thought it meant.
Right.
And that's a hard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the other side of it is like, I just haven't interacted with that many people with thick accents in my life, and so I'm not like as used to like making the connections of different accents. I've mostly heard, you know, Midwest people, or I mean, I've interact with people like all over America, but I'm mostly familiar with like American accents. But like to the point about just seeing a church or archaeology and stuff, like for one, like it was really cool being in a super historic city where all the architecture is like different from anything you've ever seen. I didn't really care for like seeing the inside. Like I went to some churches and museums. Side note, my favorite museum I've ever been to arguably was in Vienna, and it was the Arms and Armor Museum. And it had like all these like vintage like swords and like guns from before they were like standard manufactured, just seeing the weird ideas they had, that there were suits of armor everywhere. Super cool museum. Also, I saw Mozart's violin because it was connected to the music museum, so neat stuff. But yeah, like going to see like some of the history stuff, like obviously Vienna was a big part of, you know, it was a place that the Nazis had like a stronghold of, so there's a lot of you know, like Holocaust history there to see it, like see the memorial. It's like very somber in some of these places. It's something you don't get just like reading about stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like the culture and how people act and how people travel and how, you know, all the different like customs that we're used to just being totally flipped on its head. It was really cool. So I think international travel is really cool. I will also say there's a lot of really cool things in America that people should see. You don't even have to leave the country to see a ton of really cool stuff. But
yeah,
international travel's dope.
What's everyone like? All right, I've got tickets right now, and it just so happens it's your favorite place. Where did I buy tickets to? Or like your number one place you've wanted to go, like haven't been.
Wait, I'm confused by the phrasing, but what's the favorite place? What's the place I want to go to the most?
Yeah.
Like, where would you be most excited to get up and go to if you were able to right now?
Specifically somewhere you haven't been.
I mean,
I've got two in mind.
Like,
go ahead though.
My lifestyle right now is showing that I'd love to go to Japan, but I don't think. Actually, honestly, that's probably the only really place I look forward to checking out at some point in my life at the current moment. And yes,
I think.
Call me a weeb all you want.
I have three, and maybe I'll narrow it down by the time I finish talking about it. But like, I would say Australia, in no particular order. Australia, Japan, and Italy are all places I want to go.
The thing about Australia, it's so dang far away.
Dude, Egyptian like, oh my, I would want to go to Egypt too. Okay, like, I did not like most of like Western civilization and stuff like that, or anytime I was learning about ancient history, it was all pretty like, okay, like I don't mind learning about this, but like Egyptian mythology has always just been like, that's cool. I like this. They were so committed to what they wanted. They just built like a giant lion man that gives riddles. That's so cool.
They follow their dreams down there in Egypt.
Yeah, they live the they bring things to reality. But you know, like, I don't know. I just think that'd be really cool to see. From a history standpoint, Egypt. Like a scenery standpoint, Italy. And then cultural point, Japan. And then Australia just seems bizarre, and I just want to see what it's like.
Australia, you go on like a walkabout so that you can face nature and die. That's how you meet your end. It's the greatest way. See, all those places are really cool, and I would love to go to a lot of those places. But I think if you were to say, like, I've got the ticket to anywhere right now, I'm going to Antarctica, because like that's going to be the hardest place to get outside of the anywhere ticket. And I think that would be a super cool place to see before it melts.
Interesting.
Are there animals on Antarctica, or are those all North
penguins?
Pole? Just penguins?
Just penguins? What?
Penguins
aren't good
penguins
enough
are
for
so
you?
cool. I love penguins.
Yeah,
that's like
real,
anytime I go to any zoo, I make sure I go to the penguin exhibit.
Exactly. Also, I don't remember if the John Carpenter's The Thing takes place in Antarctica or the North Pole. I'm pretty sure it's Antarctica, but I'm not positive.
I feel like I haven't seen it, but I know of it. I think Antarctica seems right. Definitely polar.
I think that because the like a big thing about or just vacation, right, is you go to like secluded places or whatever, right? Name a more secluded place than Antarctica.
The moon.
All right. Well, crap. I done messed up. So I changed my answer. My ticket's taking me to Pluto, and I'm gonna claim it as my own because there's a secret clause in the International Space Agreement that since it's not a planet anymore, whoever sets foot on it first gets to have it.
Yeah.
And so
wait, how like at current rocket travel speeds, if you could make it like just big enough for a pod of one person and living supplies, how fast does that go, and how long would it take to get to Pluto at like the optimal distance? Like we caught it at the time where you can pretty much, like if you're looking at
optimized.
an optimized path, like the shortest possible path you can get to Pluto.
Yeah. Well, so I can tell you the New Horizons satellite, which was the first satellite to take a picture of Pluto. Also, something I did. So it reached Pluto in 2019. Or actually, it took pictures in 2017. Yeah, in 2017 because I remember because it was like our senior year. I remember having a conversation before that point. Actually, I feel less and less confident talking about this. I'm nearly certain it was 2017. Anyway, it went by Pluto and like took pictures, and that was the first time we ever had photos of Pluto. Like before that, it was like it was more so like renderings based on like telescopes and whatnot. But like the first like high definition or just, like the first good quality photos were taken in like 2017 or something. And that thing. All right, someone entertain the audience while I read the Wikipedia page.
Do we know any either of us or any of us know off the top of our head the amount of like, is it just Mars and the moon that we've touched? Like Earth.
What do you mean by we've touched?
Like we have had astronauts land on.
We have not had astronauts land on Mars.
I don't know anything I don't keep up with this.
No, it's.
I keep like sending in my application, and it keeps coming back return to sender, and I don't know why. NASA, please accept like my application.
The next big goal in astronautics, I guess, is to land a man on Mars. But I mean, it just seems that way. I don't super follow it either. But no, we have not had people up there. But the rover that was up there, it's been running for
that must be
a lot longer than it was supposed to. So.
I don't know how many rovers. Curiosity and the other one.
Yeah, Curiosity I think is a famous one where it's like the first one we got up there, and it just for some reason lasted a lot longer than anyone expected.
I get pushed
more than reasonable.
I get pushed like Google articles all the time of like random things that look like Earth items, like but found by a picture on Mars by the rover. So like the other day I got one that's like they found a door on Mars, and it was just a picture of something that was roughly rectangular. And it's like, cool.
But wasn't there something a few years ago where they did genuinely find water on Mars?
Yeah, there's water on Mars. I can say fairly. Everything I say in this podcast means nothing, but I am nearly certain that they found water on Mars a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I feel like it was a thing where like they wanted this, like they hadn't like in a confirmable way found water on Mars for a long time, and then like within the last few years that was a thing that happened.
Yeah. Confirmed by me.
Yeah, Brent.
All right, I'm gonna say that it was like the dates on none of the dates on this article say 2017. I very specifically remember talking about it in 2017 though, and so I'm gonna claim that it was 2017, and so actually it might have been 2016. Okay, we're just gonna say.
You know what? I'm going on the search party. You guys entertain the audience.
All right, I'll take over. So it was launched in 2006, and it was around 2016. So like roughly around 10 years for the satellite to go to Pluto, and it was reported to have traveled at speeds of more than 52,000 miles per hour. And so, what's the fastest? Well, we'll just say speed of Apollo 11.
New Horizons is the first spacecraft to explore Pluto up close, flying by Pluto and its moons on July 14th, 2015.
Wait, what was the date?
I don't know when it launched. July 14th, 2015 is when it says it flew by. I don't know if that's when like we received the signal or if that's when.
Well, yeah, because it takes the Okay, that's a good point. Maybe we got the pictures in like 2017. I don't know. Anyway, according to the first answer on Quora, 24,000 miles per hour was speed for, or at least one of the speeds for the Apollo 11 mission. So a little bit more than twice as fast this satellite was going, which I'm not sure what a human can handle, but we're twice as good as the people who were in the 60s, right?
Clearly.
So we can handle the speed.
It got about 7,800 miles from Pluto in July of 2015. So like its main goal was to do a flyby study of Pluto and its system, its moons and stuff, but as a secondary objective to fly by and study Kuiper, Kuiper, I want to say Kuiper belt objects in the decade to follow. So sometime in the next few years, we're probably going to hear about this satellite again.
Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting. Like the design of these satellites is always so interesting because the design to go on very, very little energy, and like it has to be made in such a way because it's going so fast that like space dust could tear it apart type thing. And so it needs to be resilient but light, and satellites are crazy, man. I joined the satellite team at my college.
I think advanced
engineering
in general is just wild.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a part of advanced engineering.
I
don't buy that.
Your support advanced engineering is what you do.
That's rude.
But true. It's rude because it's true.
Okay, well then I've got a master's degree, and I think
wow,
advanced engineering ain't that hard. Anyway,
I never claimed it was hard. I just said it's interesting. Good lord.
Okay. I would love to read more about this satellite Wikipedia article whenever you finish this train of thought.
Go ahead.
Okay. So when we launched it, it left Earth's atmosphere at like 36,400 miles per hour, and they flew it past Jupiter to like give it a gravity boost, mm-hmm. which increased its speed to where did it go? Okay, I'll get back. But they like used Jupiter to like give it a speed boost to like get it to Pluto faster, and then like they also tested its capabilities by like having it study Jupiter's atmosphere.
Or Interstellar.
So in 2016, so this is like a year after it flew past Pluto, it was reported to have traveled at speeds over 52,000 miles an hour. And it finished recording data from the Pluto flyby in October of 2016. And then it was maneuvered to the Kuiper belt objects, which it encountered in January of 2019. And I guess in 2018, it confirmed the existence of a hydrogen wall, quote unquote, at the outer edges of the solar system that was first detected in like 92. But I guess it confirmed it. I don't know what this hydrogen wall is. Now I kind of want to read about this, but I don't want to get too deep into space rabbit
This ain't a
hole.
nerd podcast for nerds, Daniel.
You're right. It's a math podcast
Yeah.
for math people.
Exactly. So that's all not important. But you know what is important? I got a pair of Heelys over
Have you been practicing?
Practicing. I don't need to practice. So I did. So I got them, and I like you. It is indescribable the joy I felt upon opening a box and seeing the shoes and the wheels, because I had a pair. I never had a pair of Heelys because those were too expensive. I had an off-brand pair of, I don't even remember what they were called, but they had the wheel and the heel like standard, but they also had a wheel like in the middle of the shoe, and so they had two sets of wheels per shoe. Or I guess a set of wheels per shoe, and so you like could basically use them as roller skates. But the thing is if you wanted to just walk, you had less than 2 square inches of surface area, and so you literally were on the very tips of your toes in order to walk. But anyway, so I got a legitimate pair of Heelys now that I have a big boy job, and I'm spending my money very well. Thanks for asking. And so I got them. So excited. Put them on. Went down in the basement because it's an unfinished basement. So I was like, all right, gotta practice. I was like, this will be no problem. I try and do like one thing. I was like, I almost died. And it took like 10 minutes of me just like lunging and almost down. They're really hard to pick back up, but you know the saying, it's like a pair of Heelys. Once you learn them, you never lose it. And so like was able to roll around, and so then I took them out for on Saturday and Sunday. I didn't go out much, but just in the parking lot, even it was just that there happened to be a hill going to the car, and so I rolled all the way to the car, and it's like a smile did not leave my face for the entirety I was wearing them. It is incredible how much joy they bring me.
Heelys are super. I also didn't have a pair growing up, and the only time I've ever gotten to try them was I found this like meme website called Creelies, and it was this person who said, I found a way to combine Crocs and Heelys.
Oh, good lord.
And it had instructions on like, so what it was, like a pair of Heelys, but you like took the top part of the Crocs and you glued it on. So he told you like what sizes you needed to get depending on the size of Heely to fit the Croc on top of the Heely. And I found a pair of Shrek Crocs, and I got my brother's shoe size. And I got him a pair of Heelys. So I got him a pair of Creelies that we made together for either his birthday or Christmas one year.
Meme or current day meme culture is so broken.
I
Crocs and Shrek and Heelys.
You just made the 90s into a pair of shoes.
Everything came back full circle. I mean, that's more like mid 2000s. I don't even think Crocs were around until like we were growing up.
I don't know. Also unstated bonus of Heelys, like as older, is like I am now 6 foot with my Heelys on, because you've got a solid inch and a half of like between your heel and the floor. And so
yeah, next time you have to fill out a personal information exam, make sure you enter your Heelys height too.
Well, yeah, so I'll enter my actual height and then parentheses with Heelys on 6 foot.
Yeah.
So when you have the wheel in, because it's removable, right?
Yeah.
Like
these ain't no jank Heelys.
Are you just stuck with the wheel in until you like stop moving and take the wheel out, or can you like pop them in and out of socket?
Well, so if you jump and do a classic German greeting of clicking your heels, the wheels will go like suck inside and they'll be like replaced. So like if you can jump, click your heels and then like go back down, they'll be in shoe mode, and you can do the reverse, the exact same thing to turn them back into Heelys mode.
That's so but you could also just like get on your toes and click your heels together.
No, you have to be in the air and like moving.
Don't listen to Brent.
Wow.
So it comes with a tool. And you like there you have the plugs, like there like you have these plugs and then the wheels obviously. And so the tool is like it's got a hook on one side and like a spatula thing on the other. And so you hook the wheels out and then you can.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing.
No, it's like I guess it could be, but only if the shoehorn was about half an inch in length. And like yeah, anyway, and so like you hook the wheels out and then you can shove the plugs on and then they're in shoe mode. I was trying to decide if I should walk around with the tool and the plugs and or wheels in my pockets when I'm using the other, but then I remembered, why would I ever take them out of wheel mode, because that's just dumb. So I'm never taking the wheels out. I wondered like because like, so obviously it's got like the bearings in it and like bearings wear down over time. I wondered how long they'll last. If you can replace, you have to be able to just replace the wheels, but like honestly I don't know how Heelys as a company is doing, because like I did not purchase these from like Heelys. They were from Amazon, but Amazon got them from like Zapatos or whatever the shoe website is that's just shoe in Spanish. And then like presumably maybe they got them from Heelys, or I don't know if there's only like 100,000 pairs of Heelys left in the world and like we're just slowly wearing running out.
We've been wasting all this time on Twinkies and Choco Tacos.
Yeah.
We should be buying up the Heelys.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the state of the Heelys company. So, anyway,
next time we
another
hang out,
thing,
Brent, we're going to like Home Depot or Walmart, whoever has the best Heelys floor. And absolutely. See what you can do.
I was thinking to myself, so I got off work today and obviously we're recording the podcast, but before I remembered we were recording the podcast, I was like, when I get off work, what if I just went to Walmart, like not intending to buy anything and just went around the store on the Heelys? I was like, that would be a pretty worthwhile thing to do. But like final thought on the Heelys is I've never worn high heels before, but I imagine it's sort of similar to wearing Heelys. And like obviously high heels are normally taller than 1.5 inches, but the way you have to walk is very much just on the balls of your feet, and you can't really put any weight on your heels while you're walking. You're not wheeling, obviously.
Isn't a horrible thing, like on a Heelys level, not a horrible thing. High heels, I can't imagine being good for you.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing, is there's a lot more surface area on a wheel than there is on a high heel.
Yeah. Like, it's probably good for your balance overall, just having to balance or stay on the balls of your feet.
Well, and it's not just that. Sometimes you have to stay exclusively on the heels. And so you really get the full spectrum. And
so how do you personally like to position your feet when you're rolling through town on your Heelys? Do you put one directly under you, one in front of you, like one front, one back, like both in front, and you wave your arms wildly, try to keep balance?
Yeah. I've become a Looney Tunes sketch, and yeah, both heels in front, arms flailing wildly as I go
Which
through.
You can do because you have so much momentum.
Mm-hmm,
right.
Exactly. I was actually just talking about this. I have right foot in front, and like the right foot or the front foot, you have like pretty exaggerated, as in like there's a lot of the bottom of your shoe shoving like forward, like it's pretty high up, but then your back foot is like almost a little bit behind you, but basically directly under you, and that one is just barely off the floor. And I think that one, like that formation, gives you the best control, because with like the long leading foot, but then also you have a good bit of stability with the other foot almost directly under you. But I've been trying to do it with like my left foot forward and my right foot underneath me, and can't be done. Like instant death. if I try to do that. Like stability, skills, everything's gone.
Have you looked into learning tricks on this, and will this overtake your unicycle training?
I haven't unicycled in so long, but I absolutely want to do. I keep meaning to do this, but I want to look up like Healy tricks on YouTube and see if there are any. There's got to be something. The only thing is like the trade off is like I want them to last, and so like the bearing or like so it's a spindle, and then you've got the wheel on it, and then a set of bearings like between the spindle and the wheel, and then the spindle gets lodged into the shoe, and then the like basically just friction and gravity is what's keeping that spindle in the shoe. Like there's no like hooks or anything keeping it in. Right. It's just the fact that you are applying pressure onto it is what's keeping it in place, and then also it's just a tight fit. And so but I imagine that if you were to like jump a lot on them or something, you could pretty easily break them.
Yeah. I was thinking while you said this, like, what tricks could you do? I was like, could you grind on a rail? And now I'm thinking, like, what if we made our own Heelys? One that had design improvements for tricks, like hooking it in and stuff, so that you don't lose your wheels as easily. And two, making kind of the bridge part of the shoe, like between the sole and the ball of your foot, and making it the same material as a skateboard for like grinding.
So
that would be so hard.
It'd be awesome though.
So many comments. One, for if you wanted to grind, it's a lot of the doing the grinding with skateboards is using I forget what it's called, but you have this like, it's almost like a bar of soap type of thing, and you like it's like this wax, and you put it over whatever you're about to grind on. Racks. And even a lot of times people put it on underneath their board. So I think in theory you might be able to do somewhat the bottom of the Heelys if you really wanted to, like wax that up and then wax up whatever surface you're going to do it on. And you might be able to do it for a split second. But there are more like trick and like improved for trick Heely type things, and they're like you can wear whatever shoes and your feet kind of go on them. And I've seen videos of people doing these tricks of like kind of like throwing one of them with their feet and letting it roll independently, and they're like balancing on one, and they'll do some spins and catch it while catching up to the one that they threw, and it's pretty impressive. But
I have seen the things you're talking about, but initially when you said trick Heelys, I just imagined you go into the store and it's like, now are you going to be casual or are you looking to do this professionally?
Are you looking to do this in a skate park, or are you trying to do this on the street?
Because it's like the same way when you go to buy a bike. It's like, well, are you looking for like mountain biking? Because we've got, oh my goodness, Heely like boots that with Heelys in them, but they're like treaded like wheels, and like specifically for mountain Heelying. Oh my goodness, there's so much potential here. I don't know.
Is that
the company Heelys has been slacking, but we're moving on because I've got one more story I wanted to share.
Okay.
Because originally I was trying to decide like, what Qualgorithm am I going to do? But now I get to do all of them. So it was Mom's birthday on Wednesday. Happy birthday to Mom. Shout out to Brent's mom.
I will actually verbalize shout out to Brent's mom for her birthday.
Shout out to Brent's mom. Happy birthday.
So we my family, we went to Chili's, and there was a wait. Nice. And so we were sitting outside at the Chili's, and we were sitting on a bench like facing the highway, but then there's the sidewalk that like walks in front, and then it goes towards the front of the Chili's. And so my sister and I and my mom are sitting on the bench. Other people haven't shown up yet, and so we're staring out towards the street, and I'm talking with my sister, and she said that she recently got David a plant potter. Shout out to David. And so I was like, oh, like, what is he going to plant in it? And she was like, oh, I don't know, maybe a cactus or a plant. And I was like, and I found that quite funny. I was like, your answer for a planter is a plant? And she like didn't understand why I found that funny. I was like, okay. What food are you gonna get tonight? Are you gonna get a hamburger or maybe some food? And I looked up, and this lady, she was staring at me, and she was looking at me like really weird. And I looked back at her, and we stared at each other for like a solid 10 seconds, and she had this look on her face like what is happening? And like I was just really confused. And then finally she turned around and walked inside, and I sat back and I was like, what? That was so weird. What? And she had like a tattoo, and for a second I was like, wait, did she have a hamburger tattoo? And like that's why it was weird. And then it hit me, and I realized she thought I was talking to her because I was looking at the like just towards the street instead of directly at my sister, because we were sitting side by side on the bench. And so from her perspective, she's walking by on her way to go to the Chili's, and some guy from a bench calls to her, hey, what food are you going to eat? Maybe a hamburger or some food?
Oh, I see. So I foresaw that story going completely differently. I thought you were going to like make me second guess my entire world by trying to tell me that cactuses aren't considered plants or something like that. There's no way. Well, I guess that's how it sound like you were setting it up for, but that's funny still.
At first, I thought you were going to use it to like make fun of your sister and like little mean spirit. I was like, no, Brett's not about that. And then I kind of went the same direction as Lindsay. And then I thought there was going to be a discussion about the food, but then it just turns out you were catcalling some lady about the weirdest way you could have.
So the continuation to the story is I felt really bad about it. I was like, man, I feel like I need to go and explain what happened. And so we went in the restaurant, and they sit us down, and I was like, I wonder where the lady is. And I like start looking around the restaurant, and it's like we're sitting in the booth, and there's like booth and then like a dividing wall and then another set of booths. I look across the dividing wall, and there she is, like sitting directly across the dividing wall from me. And I was like, nope, can't do it. Can't explain what happened and then have her sit next to me for the entire
social
meal.
Anxiety spike.
Yeah. So if miscellaneous lady, if you happen to be listening, I was talking to my sister. I was not wondering what you were going to have for dinner, but I hope you had a good dinner and maybe some food.
And thank you for listening this far without knowing that this was the person.
And I hope
we just have such a global reach, you know. But
I hope Brent was right in his prophecy that you're going to eat either a hamburger or food.
But it like, unfortunately, if you could just see her face, it was just the best reaction ever. It was just utterly perplexed at like, why are you asking? Well, like, why'd you stop me to ask me what I was going to eat as I was walking inside?
Yeah,
it was oh my goodness, I cracked up for a solid 2 minutes. Like I could not do anything but laugh. It was the funniest.
Yeah. I have one more thing that I would love to bring up.
Carbon
and
copy
I
of your
learned
carbon copy?
no, something different. So I saw this video of someone making a tri-witch today, and that's where you use 3 pieces of bread to make a sandwich in the formation of, so instead of like 2 pieces of bread being parallel to each other, you have 3 slices of bread. Each slice of bread is half of it is parallel to another slice of bread. So it makes kind of like this triangle looking thing. And I thought it was just the goofiest thing ever. And I thought I'd share that because that is a masterpiece.
So like you have one piece of bread as the base and the other 2 are kind of tented over it and everything's in the middle of that. So it's like a burrito
No, it's
sandwich.
not necessarily a tent. Like they're like all the slices of bread, the centers of each slice of bread are brought to the middle. So it's like it's more of a shape that has 3 different arms, and those 3 arms are formed by 2 different slices of bread being parallel to each other.
Okay, and then you just kind of squish the ends together. Okay.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense. See, I was picturing when you first said 3 bread sandwich, I was like, oh, like a Big Mac, or like how I used to make peanut butter and jelly before football practice. But no, that's interesting. I feel like that defeats the purpose of sandwich, which is to like keep your hands from getting messy.
The purpose of sandwich.
So much of this stuff is like exposed to where you would be holding the sandwich.
The Earl of Sandwich is rolling over in his grave right now at the thought of the try sandwich.
Well, the next thing, what you said,
for the listeners, if you want to visualize it, just look up try which sandwich, and for you two, I'm posting it in our Discord.
Oh,
all right.
Okay. I feel like there's a better way you could, like, I'm trying to think of a good way to describe this, because this is not what I pictured.
So
it's
okay.
It's hard to describe.
I'm just like, what's that
so
shape? What's
simple.
something that is that shape?
So I was picturing the inverse of that. So what it is, it's
Ooh,
exactly
okay.
as you described it. The middles of the pieces of bread meet at the middle, and then
It's like a 3-point star.
I've got a better description.
But
anyway.
the meat is in the middle of that, and like the meat is in between the pieces of bread. I was picturing the meat, like the bread touching each other, and the meat being on the outside of the bread.
Okay, imagine a paddle boat, right? And the propeller of the paddle boat, normally it has like 16 paddles or something, and it's underneath, and it's like spinning on the axes. That is like the axes it is spinning in is perpendicular. Like there are. Okay, maybe
You're doing
this
such
isn't the
a
best
poor
way.
job. I already gave them.
So
if they
this is
can't
a math
visualize it, I already
podcast.
gave
You
them
know
a
what?
way
All right.
to look it up.
No. Let me finish. It'll get better.
Finish.
I know you know what a propeller of a paddle boat looks like. Now imagine if that paddle boat propeller only had 3 wings, and they were evenly spaced, right? And so there's 120 degrees between each wing, and that is the meat. And then stick a piece of bread such that it's covering each of those 2 sides, and so yeah. Basic. So, all right. Imagine an arc.
You
right?
did so bad.
You drew
You're
a circle,
so poor.
and there's
It's getting
120
worse.
degrees between each of the lines. There are 3 lines in the circle, 120 degrees between each of them. That's the meat. And then you took a piece of bread, and inside the arc within that is like the pie slice that is made by each of those line segments. You've line a piece of bread across that. And now you know exactly what it looks like.
Okay, there are like, this is such a deep dive of the internet that like the other images that it suggests are wild. Like there's like entire ham cut in half and bread, just 2 slices of bread just inside of it. There's like the quadwich, and there's like the infinite bread that it's like a ring of bread with a smaller ring of bread in the middle of it with this is just like an animation, it's not actual, but it's and then there's like some kind of other probably meat or lettuce in between those 2 rings. So there's countless ways to make sandwiches, and you probably thought coming into this episode that there was only one way, so now you know. I think some people use it to like the different parts of it are different types of sandwiches, so it's not all the same thing within it. So one would be a PB&J, another side would be whatever and whatever, and another side would be whatever and whatever.
I love a whatever sandwich.
The biggest problem I have with the way you guys explain the shape is this is a math podcast, so I feel like we should explain it in math terms. So if you take an equilateral triangle and you draw the lines to find the centroid, all right, and then turn those lines into meat, and then you put bread on the outsides of that meat. And then that's a sandwich.
See, I was doing that, but with a circle.
Yeah, mine was cooler. But the way I originally pictured it, when Lindsay said, but the way the third piece of bread is formulated, because originally I was picturing like a Big Mac, then I was like, wait a minute, is it shaped like an eye? So you have a piece of bread, like either a full piece or a half piece of bread vertical between the 2, and then you can split your
It's an
sandwich
I-beam?
into 2 different sandwiches. It's an I-beam, but each half is a different kind of sandwich, and so you just split it with a piece of bread.
That honestly, I think that's the future.
They're like, what if you're craving 2 sandwiches, but you're not hungry for 2 sandwiches?
So what's your normal I-beam sandwich that you get?
I like to go, just a classic salami provolone on one side, and then turkey jelly on the other.
I think we need to make like a We Bombastic Few like sandwich chain now, and like you have the options for these to be made for you.
We'll ship them in like an envelope, just in a sandwich bag and an ice pack.
Unfortunately, for monetary reasons, we had to use the USPS flat rate things, and so it might get a little smushed, but otherwise in perfect condition. Each episode will come up with a new sandwich design, and so
because we're not FDA approved, you will need to sign an online waiver before we
yeah,
obviously.
And you do have to like legally, you do have to have a will for next of kin set up before you partake in the sandwich. That was just something our lawyers had us make. Okay, I don't actually remember if we've done this or not, but we're getting close to the end, and what's a podcast without hypothetical? So uber quick hypothetical, would you hibernate for 1 year for a 2 years paycheck salary?
Excuse me, I would like to finish the intro before we do the hypothetical. So today's segments are Qualgorithm and hypothetical, because what's a podcast without a hypothetical? Today's bombastic word, snickersnee.
Okay, we'll save a lot of this episode's material for another episode.
I've already said the bombastic word.
Yeah,
we didn't get a chance
the bombastic
to use it,
word's
though.
gone.
It's not too late. It's all right. So it's an archaic noun for a knife for cutting or thrusting. So like picture if you're mugging someone with a knife, something like that, or like cutting up a piece of meat.
Yeah, unfortunately a tri sandwich, or fortunately a tri sandwich requires no snickersnee.
And a snickersnee can also refer to a fight with knives. So don't bring a snickersnee to a gunfight.
Don't
bring a snickersnee to a snickersnee to a snickersnee.
Don't expect a snickersnee from a gunfight.
There it is.
All right, hibernate for 1 year for 2 years paycheck.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not?
Of course. What's
What's
the downside here?
You miss a year of your life.
Yeah, but you wake up feeling the most energized and like rejuvenated that you.
I don't know. What happens if it's like one of those too long a nap things where you feel worse than when you win?
You know what?
Can you imagine how disappointing that would be?
Is this unlimited offer kind of deal? Like, can I just do this 20 times in a row? Have enough money to retire?
You do age, but yeah, sure.
Okay, but say I do this 30 times. I'm in my mid-50s, and I've made 60 years worth of salary.
Yeah.
Not a bad place to be.
I'm not sure if this scales for inflation. I don't know. We'll say it does, sure. What? Oh my goodness! All right, no. So a part of the it hibernates. You're just sleeping. So part of this though, so like Daniel, you're doing this for 30 years. You have the option to say like, I want to put it into X stock. Are you good? Are you just gonna take the straight cash, or are you gonna say like, no, I think this company will still be around in 30 years?
Well, so here's the thing. I just have to like pay rent wherever I'm staying for a year.
No, they're taking care of that.
They're taking care of that. So, like, I have zero expenses.
Yeah.
So, I'll just say, like, save 25%, invest the rest.
It's all or nothing.
Into, like, mutual funds? All or nothing?
Can't do a mutual fund. It has to be, you have to put literally everything into a single company.
I have to put everything into a single stock. I'm going to put everything on We Bombastic Few stock. I'm sure the podcast will find a way to succeed without me.
The IPO, we're looking at an IPO of about $1,000 per share with a market cap about $2 trillion.
And when it tanks a week after and we never release another podcast episode, and then you hear reports about how much money we have and how we're living, it's not because we scammed you.
Yeah, exactly. Also invest in the We Bombastic Few coin.
Dude, we should. There's this sub website where it's like, kind of like crypto, but it like is done in a different way. Rally, but so like people can just like make their own like crypto, name it after themselves, and then it's just very arbitrary, like any crypto. But we should make
our own crypto,
bombastic coin, and then it like doesn't like have. environmental
Have you
repercussions
guys
the
been
same way as
following the
traditional
Bombastic
crypto.
coin? Did you see what it did last week? I'm
Wow.
literally
It
about
shot
to be
up
a million.
100,000,000%.
Yeah,
You
it's
want to
now.
get in now while it's still under a cent.
Yeah, it's still not. You still can't cash out because they don't make anything less than a penny. But it did shoot up 1,000,000%. So
Well,
kinda crazy.
Absolute insanity.
I
So,
believe
wait, I didn't get to say. I'll hibernate for a year for 2 years paycheck. I will. Maybe once. I don't know. No, screw that.
try,
I'm not.
try it
I don't
once,
need money.
See how I
Who
feel.
cares about money? I'll
Sure,
give
I'll do
you
that
give you
one.
all mine right now if you ask. I
Like,
don't want it anymore.
if I lose being 23, like, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Like, or alternatively, like, I could wait and do it later, right? Or is this right now? I gotta choose.
It's right now.
And
I
as
got
soon
I
as
got
I
a
stop doing
waiver.
it, I never get the chance again.
Yeah, they put a try sandwich in front of you and said if you eat this, you'll sleep for a year, but we'll give you 2 times salary.
Dang. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably do it once at least.
Time's too valuable. Although, and also, like, what happens when you eat it and then you wake up and it's like Walking Dead zombie apocalypse, and you're like, well, crap.
That you probably survived by eating that sandwich. So now
Well, yeah, that is the only reason you survive. But now you gotta figure out how the zombie apocalypse happens. You gotta find your wife
cure
and
is within
kids.
a try sandwich. Easy as
it's
that.
like, well, okay, I guess this is more precisely like the plot of Walking Dead, but I was gonna compare it to the plot of Futurama, where he's in a cryogenic chamber for 1,000 years on accident, and it just shows things happening in the background, like all the entire like city behind him like burning down, getting taken over by aliens, all these different things happen, pyramids rebuilt, whatever.
People in Snicker sneeze left and
Yeah,
right.
all over the place. But yeah, no, that was a bad analogy when there was literally just The Walking Dead right there. Lindsay, what do you think?
About?
Did you say if you would do it?
Yeah, I did say I said I would do it for sure.
Okay. Well then, in that case, I believe we have a sponsor, and then we can kind of close this out.
Also, Blockbuster probably would get a lot of money from that. Anyway, moving on.
Right, because so many
Sure.
people are hibernating that there's not enough sustainable use for streaming services, so we have to go to a
Honestly-
more like, permanent form of media.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, dang, Blockbuster actually would come back.
Okay.
But-
Well, this week's sponsor is blank posters. The problem with modern day posters are that they're designed ahead of time with little to no customization. I have ordered one before, and by the time it arrived, my excitement had decimated. With blank posters, you can either imagine whatever you want on it, or you could even design it yourself and erase it and redesign the poster later to whatever you're feeling then. Use code WeBlankFew at checkout for blank % off your order. Did you guys check out your blank posters yet?
Yeah, it came out great. I expected it to be scuffed, which was going to affect how I would customize it, but it came in perfectly blank, exactly what I'm looking for. And honestly, I didn't even want to tarnish that. I hung it up as is, and maybe I'll add to it later, but I really love what the blank poster has added to the overall vibe of my room. No more blank space on my wall.
Unfortunately, the email they sent me was blank, and so I did send it to spam, and I did not get a chance to recover that before the 30 days, and it deleted. So
I'll reach
Rookie
out
mistake.
to our contact and get you one for sure. Well, that ends our black hole of an episode this week. Hope you enjoyed the little impromptu Qualgorithm chat session, whatever you want to call it. But it was fun. Time flew by. Was it our best episode? Probably. But we say that.
we
And
talked
think
about
that
Heelys
potentially
and
every
Twinkies
episode.
and
it was
space
Brent's favorite
and
episode.
math.
Be sure
If
to
you don't
check
like-
us out on all of our social media platforms and say something funny. Try to make us laugh or try to make us cry, whatever you want. Twitter be popping off. I don't think the manager tweeted out the release of the episode that came out yesterday for us today, but for the 14th of August. I don't think the manager pulled through that time. He sends his condolences. He's so sorry. But do you guys have any final thoughts?
It's okay, Frederick. We'll forgive you. And if you're not here for Twinkies, Heelys, Satellites, and Matthews, then what are you doing here? You're at the wrong podcast.
Yeah.
And hypotheticals. Also, Will Smith, come to the podcast.
What a throwaway. Gosh.
It's not.
I
Will Smith knows me better than that.
He knows we're cool.
Yeah.
Will Smith, I call him Will because, we're talking like that.
Back when we were in Bel Air, we would heel around together. Is that the verb for healing? At least it's the cool way.
Yeah, something like that. I actually knew him from West Philadelphia. But, you know me, old Philly boy. Yeah, my final thoughts. All I can really think about when we were talking about Twinkies was this recurring bit that Weird Al had for a while. I don't know if he still does it, but it was the Twinkie Wiener Sandwich, which was you take a Twinkie, you cut it open, you put a hot dog on it, and you put Cheese Whiz on it like mustard.
Oh, gosh.
First time I saw him do this bit was in UHF, which is a movie he made like in the early 90s or something. And it doesn't look or sound appealing, but I do want to try it. So
I don't think I ever want a Twinkie again. Just having pictured that.
I appreciate that final thought from you, Daniel.
What a great way
sure.
to end
Well,
it.
yeah, on that fantastic, lovely picture of a note, everyone be sure to have a bombastic week. We'll catch you next time.